Someone Say Whiskey. Randy Sullivan here, and this is a very special edition of the review of Bourbon Whiskey and Rye Sample Pack because I have guests, as you can see if you're watching this on camera. I have Alex Baptista with me and Jason Duke, but you go by Duke, right?
That works.
All right, so Duke is a club member, and if you ever have the opportunity to go over to an admin's house, you definitely want to do that because sometimes cool stuff happens. I was coming over here to record a podcast with my good friend here, which you're not going to want to miss. We're going to talk about some good bottles. We're going to talk about his journey in the whiskey world. And I thought, hey, what better time to review all these whiskeys that we got coming out in the next sample pack. So let's just kind of go through them. The first one is Bib and Tucker 6-year. Have you ever had Bib and Tucker?
One I have not had.
Okay. How about you?
Nope.
I actually have had Bib and Tucker. If I remember correctly, I think that it was about a $55 bottle. It's a kind of a cool looking bottle. It's got like a cork on it.
So it's a wider squatter bottle, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's shaped kind of like a bullet bottle, but it's amber glass and it's
kind of hard to read.
Yeah, it's hard to read. And when I had it, I got, and this was the only whiskey I've ever had that I got it, and let's see if it comes out on this one. I got root beer.
It's very sweet.
Yeah,
on the
so
nose.
it was sweet, but there was a little bit of a anise, like a black licorice. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But it's 92 proof. So, I don't know. What are you getting on the nose? It's really light on the nose.
Yeah, your typical caramel, definitely.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about these Turkish, like you got to kind of get in there deep, but you don't get any of the alcohol, any of the ethanol.
Yeah, there's no ethanol. I might be getting a hint of that anise. Let's taste it up. Yeah, that's a very distinct cola flavor for me.
Yeah, A&W.
A&W, yeah. It's not as much anise. It actually tastes like A&W root beer.
Which, I mean, put in some A&W root beer, you might have something.
Yeah, you might. Well, and guilty pleasure, I drink sugar-free A&W root beers because they're also caffeine-free. And they probably cause all kinds of terrible diseases, but...
Oh, definitely carcinogenic.
Yeah, but I love it. And so I'm actually a pretty big fan of this whiskey. What do you think?
Actually, yeah, I hadn't thought about root beer. My initial thought on it was, for myself, was more almost pecan until I drank it, but then now I see that root beer profile in there.
And I'm getting some cherry too, a little medicinal cherry.
Yeah, I picked that up in the root beer all the time. Yeah. Like when I think of the complexity that you get out of root beer.
Actually, my second taste, my palate was fresh. It was a fresh palate. I had not drank before this. Now I'm getting a whole lot more of that cherry flavor.
Mm-hmm. Deeper, not Luxardo?
No, it's not Luxardo. It is medicinal though. It's more like a cherry lozenger kind of cherry, which I'm a fan of. I get that on a lot of younger Buffalo Trace Mash Bill 1 products. We didn't want to destroy 15 glasses, so you're going to have to bear with us while we...
let's be honest, this is for my wife.
Yeah, right. We want to, be considerate of all of the glasses that were dirty.
And for me, because I don't want to clean them either.
Right, he doesn't like to clean them either, although he does have a cleaning station upstairs on his house, so he doesn't have to go downstairs.
I do, and I have found that the Glencairn branded cleaning wand does not work with mini Glens.
Oh! Who would have known? Although the minigun, you can get to the bottom with your finger. So I usually just finger that one clean.
You go deep on that one?
Just go deep, finger it clean.
That's a good idea.
Pinhook 4-year vertical series, straight bourbon whiskey, 98 proof.
Mint?
Yeah, hold on.
There's
strawberry maybe?
There's a strange note in this that I'm not. Something fresh.
I'm getting strawberry, I think. With maybe a hint of mint.
Not Willet spearmint?
No, not spearmint. It's like mint. Yeah. But the fruit I think I'm getting is like a redder fruit, but not cherry.
Yeah, it's or raspberry.
I mean, you could go with the stone fruit catch-all, but
Wow. Does not taste like it smells.
no, not at all.
No,
Doesn't stick around either.
Well,
that's gone in a flash.
What is that? 12 proof?
it's 98. But the mint does come through pretty hardcore on the palate, I feel like.
Like a light Altoid.
I like
that.
That's a really good, yeah.
Yeah.
There's something else in there too.
I would say, for its age, 4-year, right?
Uh-huh.
Pretty enjoyable.
Yeah.
A little short on the
tasty,
finish,
a little
but
short.
Yeah, very short finish.
I could live with that.
Yeah. There's a little something else in there too that's darker. I mean, I hate to say anise twice, but there's something else in there on the finish that it's not a fruit flavor. It's definitely a spice. But I am getting enough cinnamon that it's interesting.
Get that.
Reload.
So what would you pay for a bottle like that?
I don't know how much they cost. So that's actually an interesting conversation that we can have while we're washing glasses. So for me, I have a different price range depending on the producer. So if it's a new producer, I understand that their products have to cost more because they are still paying the debt service on their equipment that they bought and all of that stuff. It's really hard to compare.
They're not in the profitability range yet.
They're still losing money. And it's really hard to compare a legacy distillery like Buffalo Trace or Wild Turkey or Heaven Hill to a new producer. One, because Buffalo Trace and Wild Turkey has had time to pay back the cost of building everything they needed to get to where they are.
Right.
They've been in business for decades. The new guys are still, trying to get to profitability, still paying debt service. And so for me, if it's a quality product and it's put out by a smaller producer, even their regular lines, I'm $45 to $65, right?
I can see that. Yeah.
And for a new experience, I'm willing to pay that. And so I would say, if that bottle were anywhere from, let's see, how many years is it? It's a 4-year. That one I'd probably be comfortable with 55.
I remember you're like at a 10 to 15 per year.
Yeah, but on the newer producers,
give it a little bit of a
give a
margin.
little margin. I'd say up to 55. I'd be happy on that. On the first one, it's a 6-year. I'd be good up to 60 on that one. But I liked the first one a little more than the second one.
Really, I'd be more willing to pick up the Pinhook.
Yeah.
You're more Pinhook than
Bib and Tucker.
And I'm Bib and Tucker over Pinhook, which goes to show there are no right and wrong answers when it comes to this stuff, right? It's your palate.
Your answer is the right answer.
Your answer is the right answer.
Absolutely.
That's the purpose of this, is so that you will be able to, find whiskeys that are palatable for you, that are easier to find than, Blanton's.
What's this guy here? Oh, that's why.
That's why.
Recognize the smell.
All right, so this is wheated bourbon.
9 banded out of Austin.
9 banded out of Austin.
Imports MGP.
Oh, do they?
Yep, 4.5, I believe. When I met the founder, he was in Total Wine, and he had told us that he had been waiting 4 years to get on the list, and finally had his 4-year wheated. And I said, so you actually started contacting them after this was already put in the barrel? And he said, I never thought about it that way, but yeah, absolutely. So I know, small shop out of Austin, black label, white script, pretty
I've
basic.
actually got 2 now, maybe a different profile on which one it is.
This is the wheated.
Wheated bourbon that's 90 proof. Yeah. So this one just tastes young to me.
Very.
Yeah, it just tastes young. And just so you know, if you're watching at home, MGP is a producer that sells a lot of spirits to other producers. And their aging facility ages very slowly, closer to Scotland than Kentucky, even though it's just on the other side of the border, because their buildings are brick buildings. They're not brick facade, they're actual brick buildings. They're extremely insulated. They have very small temperature swings, and their humidity is super high because they're along a river. And when you take all of those things into consideration, the barrels don't breathe as much as they do when there's a lot of temperature change. So this one,
Yeah, it doesn't drink, like if you hadn't have told me 90 proof, I would have told you that's 115.
it drinks a little hotter for me. And I don't know, there's like a little bit of there's a fruit component in the mid palate. I'd probably call it like peaches or apricot. It tastes dirty,
Yeah.
right? It's like the banana anus. You know what I'm saying? It's not banana flavored.
Wow.
But you know
That's a very specific part of the banana.
yeah, the very last bite of
yeah.
banana that some people won't eat. You know how it's got like that?
I wouldn't eat it, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah,
I'm not a big banana
I'm a
anus
dirty
eater.
bird, so I eat the banana anus. But anyway, it's a little bit of a dirtier flavor fruit. Although it's not banana, so don't get excited.
Well, and I have to, be honest. I have a bottle of it on my shelf, so I wouldn't say it's one that I enjoy frequently. But I wanted to support some of the Texas distilleries, even the ones that are importing some product.
Yeah, for sure. And they got to start somewhere. So
Exactly.
but for me, I think.
I'm good.
Oh, are you?
I washed.
For me, I'm not loving that one a ton.
I'm still.
But don't let that influence you at home.
Go out and try it. It's different. It's
Your
not
palate.
like a normal weeded.
Right. It tastes a lot like that, like the really young Nulus and the really, some of the younger MGP products that are coming out. Even though this one was weeded and most of the others are not. All right, so this next one.
I would still lead with Pinhook of the three.
And for me, I'm Bib and Tucker. Are you still on Pinhook?
Yeah, I do.
All right, well, they're probably about to get smashed. This is Belle Meade Sour Mash Straight Bourbon Whiskey, 90.4 proof.
Oh, I've had this one.
Yeah. So Belle Meade, real interesting producer out of Nashville, Tennessee. That's not the name of the distillery. The distillery is Nelson Greenbrier Distillery. And a little history lesson, Nelson Greenbrier Distillery was rocking and rolling in the 1800s. And his two business partners, one of them started Maxwell House Coffee, and the other started a grocery store chain that is still in business in Tennessee today. And because grocers back then were the ones that were kind of sourcing whiskey and getting barrels, you'd fill your bottle back up. He forward integrated, started producing his own whiskey. And there was this really famous horse racing ranch that the ranch was so large it composed what is most of Nashville today. And they had this really famous racehorse that beat all the international champions and became internationally famous. So the distillery contracted with them to be able to use the name of their horse racing.
Belle Meade.
Yeah, and that's where Belle Meade comes from. And they two brothers that are running it today were on a road trip together, stopped to look at a mile marker, saw their family name, looked it up and found out it was like their great-grandfather that owned what was at the time one of the largest distilleries in the United States, much larger than Jack Daniel's. And when they went out of business because of Prohibition, it never opened back up. And so they were like, hey, why don't we hop back into the family business, resurrect it? Really awesome story. They were contract distilling with MGPI before contract distilling with MGPI was cool. And that's why they still have high-aged products on the shelf that nobody else can get from MGPI, because the whiskey that they have with MGPI is their whiskey being aged in their warehouse. And they are coming out with some of their own products now.
I was about to say, I'd thought this was contract or distilled through MGP.
Yeah.
And it is such a departure from the previous one, also an MGP example.
Right, yeah.
Just incredibly more complex.
So the other one was weeded. This one is rye-based bourbon. And the age is probably quite different. Yeah. Nothing's jumping out on the nose. These Turkish tea glasses are throwing me off.
You got to get it in there.
But
Good spice on the nose for sure.
real bright flavor on the palate.
It's gorgeous. I mean,
Gorgeous. Great whiskey.
you were completely correct in saying a new leader has emerged.
It has. It definitely has.
Yeah. I like this quite a bit.
Actually, I've got a bottle at home. It stays on the shelf.
So this is a daily for you? Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's an interesting fruit component in this, and I can't quite put my finger on it. It's not cherry.
I might be out there, but I almost get like a plum.
Yeah, I was thinking more.
It's a deeper fruit
Yeah.
than a cherry.
Mm-hmm. Much darker.
Yeah. It's a darker fruit flavor, but very balanced whiskey. It's not, there's nothing.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah, nothing jumping out, nothing to offend your palate. Also nothing to make you remember a particular tasting the next day. It's just, this is a very approachable, this could be a daily drinker. No one should be upset about this.
And I would probably pick this up to 75. I can't remember the cost, but I definitely enjoy it.
That's about where it's at. It's anywhere between 64 and 79, depending on which store you're at, of course.
Have you rinsed?
No, I have not.
All right. All right, and we got one more guy to try. This is Chattanooga Whiskey, 91. Tennessee High Malt, 91 proof. This one's actually much better than a lot that I've had, I would say.
I'm gonna throw it out there. I like it.
Yeah, how do you feel about it?
I'm a fan. I actually have a bottle of this. This is the 91. I've also got a bottle of the 117, which is much better than this, but this is a good one that I can have on the shelf and be comfortable drinking, sampling out to people if they haven't tried it yet. It's a nice, easy drink.
The B vitamin note on this is light enough that it tastes more like Pez dispenser candy to me.
I can see that.
Because it's still got that chalky candy thing going on, but it's not quite, B vitamin-esque. Although there is like a weird ethanol thing in the mid palate that's throwing me off.
I might
at
still,
the right price.
Oh, yeah,
This is
that's
actually
what it's going to come
very
down
good
to.
price on this one. I want to say this can be anywhere between about 45 to 55.
Yeah. So this wouldn't be one that I'd be mad at.
At that price, I'd probably snag it before I snag the Belle Meade.
Really? You like this more than Belle Meade?
At the price.
At the price, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you put them at the same price.
Quality price ratio? Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, there could be a $10 to $20 difference on those two.
Okay.
Honestly.
All right. Well, when I
Actually,
buy Belle Meade, I always buy the cash strength, and that one's more money. So I don't know how much the proof down version is, because this one was only 90.4, I think. Yeah.
Which, for the point of the sample club, I think these are all fantastic opportunities to go out and try some great products.
Definitely try these.
And this is an opportunity for you to, kind of put aside what you're seeing on the forums and just try it and see what you think. And that's the whole idea with this. So, don't let us influence you. We just want to do this to make it fun so that you have somebody to drink with if you're doing this at home alone. That way you don't have to feel like an alcoholic or whatever. I don't know. I don't know how you feel about drinking alone. I do it quite often. But
probably more times than you're comfortable admitting.
Yeah, probably. I mean, when my doctor asks, I tell him the truth, and he's always shocked. Anyways, so hope this was fun for you guys. If you have any questions, throw them in the comments below. One of us will jump in and answer it because we're going to be tagged in the video anyway. So we're going to see all the comments. And as always, love you guys, and we'll see you next time on Bourbon Real Talk.